And we also know that they have been translated by the gift and power of God, for his voice hath declared it unto us. Wherefore we know of a surety that the work is true.
And we also testify that we have seen the engravings which are upon the plates, and they have been shown unto us by the power of God.
This is an exciting time. It's 30 years that we're celebrating the Martin Harris Pageant. And Paul, you have a lot to do with this, and you have a lot of things to tell people to get excited about coming to this year's show.
Well, the Martin Harris Pageant is celebrating 30 years this year. 1983 was when it began. Denzel Clark and Rhett James and Dwayne Huff kind of had the vision of what it could be, so we're glad to carry on that tradition.
There's an interesting story that goes with this, because they decided to put on this pageant, and then kind of tell me how it started.
Well, visiting with Denzel, they had this vision. Denzel, since he was a little boy, had seen lots of people come to visit the gravesite of Martin Harris, and if you know the Clarkston Cemetery out there, there's kind of a hillside and a slope, and he said, I thought, you know, we could probably do a little amphitheater there. We could probably tell his story from this. And so they built a 3,000-seat amphitheater, had never put on the pageant, never even produced this show, but they raised the money, thousands of dollars, to build an outdoor amphitheater, and had never put on a pageant. And the night of the pageant, he said, I stood at the top of the amphitheater and looked out over the valley, and he said the clouds were coming in, and thunder and so forth, getting dark, and he said, I said to Rhett James, do you think anybody will come? And he says, we looked out, and he said we could see the little county roads and just lines of car lights coming to Clarkston. You know, thousands of people. It was almost a Field of Dreams, and this is before the Field of Dreams show had even come out. But he said thousands of people came. They continue to come. Like I say, we're into our 30th year now. We produce it every other year, but likely we'll see our millionth visitor this year at the Martin Harris Pageant.
That is so exciting, and it's such a wonderful tradition for our valley. And there's been some changes to the script. Tell me about that.
Well, the script used to be a long, 3.5, 4 hour production. It's sharp and fast, moves right along. It's an hour and 15 minutes. We have local cast members, over 75 cast members. Helen Cooper from Clarkston is the director. It's a fun show. It moves right along, and it tells a great story. Martin Harris is a colorful character, has lots of significance to Mormon history, and we're glad to tell his story.
Yes, this is very exciting, and what a great time to come and help celebrate the 30th year. I've been to the Martin Harris Pageant before, and as I remember, it was lively, it was fun, there was music and dancing, and then again, a great story. Yeah,
and Martin Harris' story is both an interesting story, but this is a historical pageant. It's not just a pageant. It tells a great story about a man who probably, faces the same kind of questions all of us face, of community and his faith and his family and the challenges of that, and worried about his reputation, worried about, what would people think if he got involved in this, and yet he played a great part. Had it not been for Martin Harris, I don't know how the Book of Mormon would have got published. He mortgaged his farm, lost the farm, just was involved intimately with Prophet Joseph in the translation of the Book of Mormon, and was a very devout Christian. Wanted to be right with God. Wanted to do what he should do, and wanted to be a part of this work, and was.
I think that's just so interesting and kind of inspirational for all of us. And I think it's also interesting that by the time he came to Cache Valley, he was not a young man.
Yeah, he stayed in Kirtland. Brigham Young and the Saints went west, but Martin stayed right in Kirtland. In fact, he gave tours of the Kirtland Temple to people who would come and ask. And finally, when he was about, 86, 87 years old, Brigham Young and Edward Stevenson convinced him that they would pay his way and he could come to Utah. He had children and family in Utah, so he came by rail car to Utah. Initially, he didn't have a great affection for Brigham Young, and he said, "I'll come to Utah only if you'll give me a two-way ticket." But once he got here and got with his family, he stayed. He had a son living, I think Martin Jr. was in Smithfield at the time, and then later into Clarkston. So he didn't come to Cache Valley until he was about 87 years old. He was an old man, but visited with lots of people, bore his testimony to lots of people, very devout. He was the kind of guy that people would kind of needle him a little bit and say, did you really see that? Did that really happen? And, he'd hold his hand out there and say, you see my hand in front of you, as sure as you see my hand, that's what I saw. And, so he was very devout in his testimony. When they buried him in the Clarkston Cemetery, they buried him with the Book of Mormon in his right hand and the Book of Commandments, which we know is the Doctrine and Covenants, in his left hand.
It's just really interesting. It's such a great little tidbit of history for our valley. Tell me a little bit about the pageant and how it gets put together, and who are we going to be seeing performing?
The pageant is a production of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We're produced by the church. It's local actors. And Brad Noble is playing the part of Martin Harris this year. Does a great job, but he's new to that role. As I indicate, Helen Cooper is our director. The dancers, the singers, the cast, they're local people. They're fun. They enjoy it. We've had people that have been in pageant. I visited with one of our cast members, Tim Fellows from Preston. He's been in the pageant for 27 years. Is that right? And I said, why do you keep coming back? And he said, this is more than a play. He said, when Palmyra unfolds on the stage in Clarkston, he said there's a certain feeling that comes with that. And playing these historical characters, it's more than just a drama production. And there are new people. We rotate the cast a little bit to give different people opportunities, but it's a great experience for them.
Well, that just sounds such a great thing to be involved in. How lucky for you, and how great for you to be a part of being 1 million people visiting this pageant this year.
Well, and that's our guess. Who knows how many really have come, but it's a lot of people. We'll have 12 nights. We start on August the 2nd. We go through the 17th. We take Sunday and Mondays off, but basically we run from the 2nd through the 17th. Tickets are available. There's a little misconception out there that, I can't get tickets. We are sold out some nights. They're free. There's no cost to the tickets. If they go to clarkstonpageant.org, they can get a ticket online, but they do need to get a reservation. The weeknights are available. Some of the weekends are taken at this point, but tickets are available. We'd love to have people come.
This is such a great thing to do. Come with your family. We have the perfect weather here in Cache Valley for a cool evening, and the tickets are free. And this is just a great tradition to have in our valley, and something that you do with your friends and family every year, I think.
Thanks. We look forward to greeting people out there.
Terrific. Tell us one more time where they can get tickets, and again, they are free to the public, but you just need a reservation.
Yeah, go to the website clarkstonpageant.org, and you can get a ticket online that way.
That's terrific. Don't miss it this year. Thank you so much, Paul.
Who did you show? I've looked. I've destroyed my house. Everything. It isn't there. Dragons here. Look yourself.